Good evening. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our new graduates this evening, as well as their family and friends. My congratulations to each and every one of you. Tonight, I am honored to introduce our guest keynote speaker, Naomi Ishizaka, a journalist, photographer, and communicator extraordinaire. Naomi is a passionate advocate for racial equity and social justice, and her career trajectory bears out that deep commitment. She is currently the Communications Director for Social Justice Fund Northwest, a foundation on the front lines of social change. This organization, based in Seattle, operates in 5 Western states to implement significant long-term social justice solutions for marginalized individuals and communities. Social Justice Fund addresses the root causes of social, economic, and environmental inequities. For over 4 decades, it has awarded more than $18 million in grants to organizations that use culturally competent, bottom-up educational strategies to achieve real and lasting change. Before joining Social Justice Fund, Naomi oversaw communications for SEIU 775 Benefits Group to support the state's 45,000 home care workers. Before that, she was communications director at an immigrant rights organization called One America. In addition to her communications work, Naomi writes frequently on race and social justice, and her photography, which centers racial justice and queer and trans communities of color, has been featured in the city's permanent collection, local galleries, and in the film 13. Naomi's passion for writing, visual storytelling, and social justice came together in a spectacular fashion in 2001 when she launched Colors Northwest. For 8 years, she was editor-in-chief of this award-winning magazine, which would grow into the Northwest's premier diversity resource. So many of us treasured each issue of that monthly publication. I know I did. Not only did Colors Northwest highlight communities of color in our region, but it also illustrated issues important to those communities through thought-provoking articles and impactful photography. Naomi's work on Colors Northwest showed us what one determined, passionate, socially conscious individual can achieve. Truly an inspiration to us all. Throughout her career, Naomi has received many awards and honors. She was a fellow with the International Center for Journalism's Community Health Reporting, the Institute of Justice and Journalism Studies, and the World Affairs Council. In 2005, she was selected to be an American Marshall Memorial Fellow, one of only 50 chosen nationwide that year by the German Marshall Fund of the United States. This award enabled her to travel throughout Europe on a cross-cultural exchange, an experience which reinforced her lifelong passion for social change, I am sure. We are delighted she could be with us this evening. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our 2019 School of Social Work graduation keynote speaker, Naomi Ishizaka.
Thank you, Dr. Spearman, for that incredibly kind and generous introduction. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces here today. Thank you to the School of Social Work, to the School of Social Work graduates, to Dean Uhara for the incredible honor of speaking in front of you today. First, I want to say I would not be here, literally or figuratively, if it were not for my dad, Tony Ishizaka, who I know a lot of you know. He taught at the School of Social Work for the majority of my life and retired in 2009, although he still teaches me and many others every day, whether we like it or not sometimes. I learned from both of my parents that it's up to us to make the world we want to live in, that bending the arc toward justice is a hands-on process, and we all have a role to play. I learned that social work is not about giving charity. It's about creating systemic change so that charity becomes unnecessary. As I was growing up, the kind of changes I saw my dad create looked like establishing mental health care for Southeast Asian refugees in the late 1970s. He and his colleagues challenged the conventional wisdom that Asians did not have the same mental health needs as everyone else. I saw change like fostering a legion of social workers of color, some of them who are on the stage right now, who took their lived experiences and applied them to problems that disproportionately impacted their communities. While I'm not a social worker and have never attended the School of Social Work, in many ways, the students and teachers at the school who I grew up with as my aunties and uncles raised me to be the person I am now. Today, you, the UW School of Social Work students and faculty, are on the forefront of groundbreaking work that centers the most marginalized and demands that systems work for all of us. Whether it's exposing the disparities in Black maternal health, examining the mental and physical health needs of aging LGBT populations, studying the impact of the current political climate on immigrant health, or improving mental health within Indigenous communities, the School of Social Work is ensuring that none of us are left behind. So often, when I meet people asking hard questions and doing transformative work in the community, I learn they're graduates of the School of Social Work. There's no doubt these are challenging times. You are graduating at a time of deep fear and uncertainty in this country and this world. The progress we have made to bend that arc seems to sometimes feel fruitless, as each day there's an onslaught of new policies and decisions that target our most vulnerable communities, entrench power in the hands of the already powerful, and jeopardize the future of life on this planet. The setbacks we are facing could last generations. Yet we've been here before. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors who faced crushing odds and yet persisted in their fight. I think of journalists like Ida B. Wells, who as a Southern Black woman in the late 1800s became the nation's foremost crusader against lynching. I think of activists like Yuri Kochiyama, who defied the model minority myth and fought for Black liberation and liberation for all people. Our ancestors did not falter and fall victim to cynicism and despair, and neither should we. We cannot falter because the work you're about to do is too important. Whether it's to research and shape policy, work with individuals and families needing services, or help to transform individuals through the therapeutic process, you have tremendous power to impact the lives and material conditions of the people for whom you serve. The deck is often unjustly stacked against your profession. Social workers are asked to do way too much with way too little and are second-guessed by all sides for every decision they make. But even within that context, there are choices that social workers make each day that can either uphold or destroy oppressive systems rooted in racism, sexism, white supremacy, and patriarchy. We have seen the ways in which social work has been weaponized over generations in service of our colonial white supremacist culture. We have seen the way social workers were used to enable the forced removal of Native children from their families, cultures, and language to be placed in boarding schools and foster care under the guise of charity and kindness. The recent tragic example of Washington's own Hart family, where two white mothers killed their adopted Black children by driving off a cliff, resulted from a system that decided that a white middle-class couple was better for the children than the children's own aunt, who was overworked and harried but loved her children deeply. Despite years of abuse and the children's repeated cries for help, the children's moms were trusted and believed. What biases and assumptions led to those decisions? We all have worked to deconstruct and unlearn the oppressive systems we have absorbed since our birth. Many of us dramatically increased our understanding of these systems during our time in college, as many of you have. In a short period of time, we become woke, outraged, impatient, and frustrated that everyone else does not understand the things we now understand. We bond with like-minded people in person and on social media. We clap back, we call out, and sometimes cancel those who offend our new worldview. Through these shared experiences, we also build community with one another, as it's only together that we can make positive change by speaking truth to power and forcing companies, governments, and institutions to right their wrongs. But what I've also noticed in recent years is that in many social justice spaces, we have taken these same tactics and begun to apply them against our friends and our allies. Instead of inquiry or curiosity, we lean on sectarianism, judgment, and narrow allegiance to a rigid orthodoxy. Instead of using principled disagreement and positive critique to challenge each other to grow and evolve, we call each other out to be canceled. My dear friend, the media justice and movement leader, Malkia David-Cyril, wrote about this phenomenon, saying, quote, "Have we forgotten the terrible things we have each done, the ways we fight for our dignity on the daily, the choices we regret that only hindsight can reveal, that we are all imperfect, making imperfect decisions in a world where we are pressed between rocks and hard places, between trauma and triumph, between power and powerlessness. How has that shaped you? My life is spent becoming someone I can be proud of and is less and less about pointing a finger at anyone else. Have we forgotten that there are grandmothers and young kids and sex workers and people working at Walmart and folks crossing borders and dying in boats and living in small towns and off dirt roads and working in mines and emerging from prisons who aren't particularly political and don't have an explicitly left analysis, who still need to be organized and find a way to be part of this movement we claim to be building? Do you really believe we can possibly win without them? Do you really believe the left in the United States and beyond can continue to remain narrow, focused on reifying itself, in constant internal critique, and not be defeated ideologically, militarily, and economically by the global right, unquote? Have we forgotten? I know I forget all the time. It's easy to feel powerless when the challenges we are facing seem so daunting. Sometimes it feels like the forces that are causing the most harm are too far out of reach, so we reach for what we feel we can control. How can we call each other in when we make mistakes? How can we have grace with each other's failings and our own, become less insular, and build a bigger movement with more open doors for those who haven't had the privilege of our awakened consciousness? The writer and organizer Adrienne Breen Brown asked in her book, Emergent Strategy, quote, "Are you actively practicing generosity and vulnerability in order to make the connections between you and others clear, open, available, durable?" Generosity here means giving of what you have without strings or expectations attached. Vulnerability means showing your needs, unquote. If any group of people is prepared to do this work, it is all of you. You whose hearts were driven to seek this work, despite how hard it is and how undervalued it can be. You who were moved to create a more loving world and to bend the arc towards justice. We are and have always been the ones we are waiting for. You, the 2019 graduates of the UW School of Social Work, are ready for this challenge. Congratulations on this huge accomplishment. Your whole community is proud of you. Thank you.